and welcome back to Random Thursday on Take What You Can. This is episode 26 of the podcast. Today, we are going to talk about drones. I am under the impression that the drones are searching for a bomb or searching for something that is already in the United States. I think the drones are not UFOs. I don't think they're foreign adversaries. I don't think they're anybody but the U.S. government trying to find something that they know is there, that they will not tell the American people that is there. It is definitely, with the amount of border crossings that we've had over the past 4 years, which now they've tallied up to 12 million, and that's just accounted for in the past 4 years. You don't know what may happen with that. And I'm afraid we're going to see some repercussions of those actions. Now, do I think everyone who crosses the border is a bad person? Absolutely not. Do I think they mean ill will of others? Absolutely not. But I can't sit here and lie to you and act like every person has the best intentions. There is that video of that guy, I believe he's on the terror watch list now, allegedly. And he literally said, "You don't know who I am right now, but you will." And, when people say things like that, especially in a threatening manner, that's definitely not something that we want no control over, right? These things are bound to happen, Could happen even within our own, United States citizens. But yeah, it's not fun to see. And also, not to mention the state of California has, declared a state of emergency due to the bird flu. So here we go again. And I can't help but think that it's people trying to start a state of panic, trying to ruffle feathers, and it's not going to lead to good things. That's all I really have to say about that. I guess in other news, what else is trending here? Let's see. Let's look more into this bird flu thing. So, here, let's see here. This is from Executive Department, State of California, proclamation of a state emergency. Commonly known, the bird flu is widespread in wild birds worldwide, including in the United States. And whereas bird flu was first detected in the United States in a wild bird population in South Carolina of January 2022, in the domestic poultry population in Indiana in February 2022, and in the wild bird population in California in July 2022. Whereas, so they're pulling out things from 2022. Okay, this will be interesting. Whereas bird flu primarily infected birds, but can also infect mammals, including humans. Wow, this seems like a huge stretch, but let's keep reading here. Whereas on March 25th, 2024, an outbreak of bird flu infection in dairy cows was first reported in other states. Okay. March 25th, 2024, there have been 61 total reported confirmed cases of bird flu infection across 8 states, including 34 reported cases in California. Okay, so how many people are in each state on average? Okay, so if you divided it equally, right, because they're not telling us which states that they are, right? 6.84 million people. Okay. Let's pull out the handy dandy calculator here. So 61 divided by 6.84. 684. Okay, 684,000. 68 million. Wait, hold on. This is me doing math. So, okay, so 6.84. Okay, here we go. No, I wanted divided by. Sorry. Okay, this is me doing math. Welcome to the podcast. 61 divided by 6.84. Okay, right now we got 68,000. Okay. That's 0.00000089181. So really that's 0.0009% of the population. Okay. Okay. That's dumb. Okay, 34 in California. How many is that? Okay. How many people are in the state of California? See how dumb this is? 38.96 million. Okay. So, yeah, that's even way less. Okay. Cool. On August 30th, 2024, bird flu infection was confirmed in a dairy cow in Central California. The California Department of Public Health activating its medical coordination center. Okay. California has led the nation in milk production since 1993, accounting for 18.2% of the United States milk production in 2022 across more than 1,100 dairies statewide. And August 30th, 2024 and early December 2024, 641 dairies have confirmed positive tests for bird flu across 9 Okay. Okay, so basically 614 dairy farms have confirmed bird flu. Okay. Yikes. Yeah, this does not seem like, yes, is it probably important to just keep certain people safe, but to declare a whole state of emergency, that seems like a wild thing to do. Recording to the Vigilant Fox on X, the U.S. government just shelled out staggering $176 million to Moderna for a bird flu vaccine. Yeah, this seems a little sketch. When COVID was going on, I bought fully into it. Followed all the protocols, got vaccinated, and got a booster. And, yeah, and I just honestly feel like I was completely lied to the whole time. Because when you think about, basically you think about just all the things that they said, all the death counts, all of really the side effects, anything like that, it's really just something else. I will say that. Really something else. But this seems like nothing but just another ploy to try to get people afraid again, unfortunately. And I hate to sound like the nut job at this point, but, just because wicked people do wicked things and they're so hard to believe that people would be willing to do those things, and on top of that, just because certain people are willing to point them out, that doesn't mean that person is crazy. Just because, again, I'll reiterate, just because a wicked person does wicked things and they're hard to believe does not mean that they're not true. And just because the person who's willing to point it out and stand up for it and say that this is wrong does not make them crazy. So why do we keep acting this way? That's what I don't understand. Yeah, it is honestly just, it's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. You got plenty of people out here losing their jobs, you know, having huge disagreements with family just for speaking the truth on lies, right? Like the other day, I was talking to someone about it. Someone asked me, like, what do you think of the drones? And I'm like, well, I think there's a bomb in the United States. I think there's something going on, and the U.S. government knows about it, and they're not telling the people to prevent panic. And they're flying drones at night. And this is just my opinion. They're flying drones at night to try to find it because they don't want to fly drones in the day to cause confusion and scare, right? But they're doing it anyway because people are filming it and seeing it. And I said, that's what happens when you have an open border. And someone literally replies to me, they go, hey now. And I go, like, there's literally videos of a man saying, you will know my name. People have been, let me say this. There's so many people that are so ignorant and naive to what's going on that they just want to live in their bubble. They think that they will not go through anything. There has not been a war on American soil since, 1812? Right? Right? Let me Google it here. When was the last war on American soil? 1865. Okay, fair enough. Feel dumb? That's okay. I'm not your person for, real facts. But 1865, I'm willing to say I'm wrong. World War II, you could say, bombing Pearl Harbor. That too. But either way, I mean, we're talking almost 100 years, right? So we have a whole generation of young men that really think that nothing bad can happen to them. And they don't realize how close we are to the brink of war. And they can be naive to that, and they're going to keep, they don't pay attention to politics at all. They just go what's told to them, right? Everyone does that to a certain degree, but from there, it's like doing your own research, right? So they just hear what, no. There's so many people's political opinions are based off rhetoric from 2 elections ago, right? So when I say that's what happens when you have a bunch of illegal immigrants come into the country, you have an open border, and they go, hey now, you know what they're thinking? This is my assumption. My thinking is, or their thinking is probably, oh, well, he's being racist towards Latinos or Mexicans, right? Not the case at all. Not the case at all. We're talking about statistically. I can find several statistics and articles. I also just watched an interview with the guy who's going to be the border czar, talking about people coming in from Canada that are from countries in the Middle East. Right? We're not talking about Mexico. We're not talking about, yes, we're talking about Mexico as in terms of people coming through. Have you seen videos of whole, giant mass groups of people walking in together, headed for the U.S. border because they know it's open? And we're talking about 12 million people just reported that have crossed the border. And with that, the amount of sex trafficking, the amount of kids being abducted, human trafficking, right? So that's where we're at. And people just want to be so naive, and they actually don't want to look at the truth because they're scared, right? Or no, maybe they're not even scared. Maybe they're just lazy. Maybe they're ignorant. Maybe they're naive. I won't even begin to understand or try to project onto them what I think it is. But at the end of the day, you're just looking at it in such a simplistic view. You don't think that, you basically think America's untouchable, which it's not. And we have a generation of men who know nothing what it's like to have real sacrifice, myself included. We didn't go to war. over a fight that we don't think is worth it, that we're forced to go to, right? It's not like we have a generation of young men who are honestly weak. They're weak in terms of historic, like generationally historic men, right? In the whole grand scheme of the world, we probably have one of the weakest generation of men in America than we've ever had. And I'm talking about myself included. We don't know how to fix a car. We don't know how to, we don't know how to hunt. We don't know how to fight. We don't know, like, there's so many things in terms of protecting our families, surviving. We're lazy and we're spoiled. We honestly are. And we don't want to admit that. But it's the truth. We don't want to admit that. And what? Because we know that, deep down we know that, we want to shy away and we just want to listen to whatever these, whatever the media, politicians, whatever rhetoric they want to push. We're just going to go along with that. And as long as people that aren't us are dying and we don't have to see it, we're okay with it. It's not the truth. It's not what America should be. We're not about, at least I'm not about starting wars over nothing. I'm not about involving myself in every conflict. I don't believe that America needs to be the world's police in order for the world to thrive. I don't believe that at all. But we've been so used to controlling other countries that the American people think that if we aren't controlling other countries and countries are just acting on their own self-interest for their own country's benefit, like every country should, and we're not talking about war, we're not talking about invasion, we're talking about politically, economically, trade, all these things, right? Safety, national security, all things that every person in humanity right now, like in the world, can agree are important. And every country should have their right to do so. But politicians have really skewed that and made American people believe that if we're not controlling other people, then it's a wrap. There are evil people out there that want to kill us, that want to do this, they want to do that. Do I doubt that that's there? No, of course there's some of that. But they think unless we're controlling everybody else, the world is not a good place. American people are the only good people. It's not true at all. It's not true at all. So there's no point of having these senseless wars. There's no point in involving ourselves in Ukraine and Iran and like Afghanistan, like Vietnam. There's so many wars that were just so pointless. So pointless. And right now we're paying for politicians' salaries in the Ukraine. We're funding a whole generation of Ukrainian men to die in a war they know they'll never win. That it was honestly America's fault that it was started, because if you're a country like Russia, and I'm not saying that I am pro-Russia, but I'm saying on a logical basis of if I'm running a country and I want to act on its own interest, and a group of countries has slowly invaded the world and taken over governments while seemingly for the sake of democracy, but really not, and they're on my doorstep, and I say, hey, if you involve this country that's right next to me, aka if you start to invade me, I'm going to invade them and put the line in the sand before you can cross it, then I'm going to. And what did the U.S. do? They pushed Ukraine to get into NATO. Russia repeatedly said, do not let Ukraine join NATO or we will invade them. And what happened? The U.S. tried to push Ukraine to join NATO, and the war started. And why do you think we've given trillions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, whatever astronomical, ridiculous number it is? Why do you think we've given so much money to them? Because we're funding a war that our government wants to fight, but they know the American people won't get behind it. So instead of sending American people across seas to die over something that does not matter, they're going to take our money to fund the deaths of a whole generation of men in another country to fight a war none of us want a part of. That's really what it is. That is really what it is. And I'm sick of it. And it's crazy how much politics has flipped. When I was in high school, I took the politics test, and I was at like 97% liberal. And it's crazy how many Democrats or liberals have become Republicans or conservative, whatever you want to call it, just off how much the world has changed. Because what the Democratic Party has become, they've become the establishment. They've become the war party. They've become fear-mongering. They've become divisive. That's what they've done. Because they got too cocky and they thought, well, we can just do whatever we want. And we're going to turn away from the everyday American. We're going to push our agendas on people. We're going to start senseless wars for the sake of our power. And this is what happens. You know, you had a landslide victory for conservatives. And I would say until recently, I'd never considered myself a conservative. But that's not what it's about. It's not about Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, liberals. It's about people who care about the truth and care about morality and people who don't. Right? And we all have that different sense of what it is. But I think the truth leads you to what morality is. And, you know, we can all debate different things, and that's fine. But I'm not going to fund. Well, I guess I am funding. I didn't really have a choice. I guess kind of had a choice, but not really. My government used my taxpayer money to fund a war that I want nothing to do with. Nothing to do with. I could care less about what Russia has going on. I could care less. I'm sorry, I couldn't care less. Meanwhile, you have China, who's been building up their economy for decades now. Their education for decades now. Now, if you want to say that the way they did it was moral or the way their government runs is moral, of course not. I don't know if I agree with that. I'd have to do more research into what those specific things are. But from what I've heard, it like certain things that they do, I just don't agree with, right? Like the birth rates, control, surveillance of people. But I look at it, and when you have a democratic republic like we do, you have to convince the people something. Therefore, you have to push propaganda onto people to get them to do things and believe things that are against their moral code. Because you lie and you twist the truth. Right? You lie and you twist the truth. That's what they do. And we're not talking about just Democrats. We're not talking about just Republicans. They both do it. It's the people who are funded by people with agendas, and there's the people who actually want to serve people. The American people. That's honestly what it's about. So, is anybody perfect in either way? Probably not. But at the end of the day, the American people just want to be represented, and they want to feel safe and secure. And right now, they don't feel that way. And now what happens, right? You know, you got the drones, more than likely because there is something in this country that's going to cause a problem that they are trying to find right now, which is their job. It's the government's job to protect us. It is. And to serve us. I have nothing against that. But I'm saying that it was their fault that this is here in the first place. That is what happens when you let 12 million people, probably even more than that, cross the border and you have no idea who they are. You have no idea what their background is. Like, it's not a good thing. I'm all for anybody wanting to come to this country. That's what this country was founded on. But you have to go about it the right way. And if the first thing that you do when you get to this country is break the law by coming into it illegally, you're obviously not for the country. You're for yourself, right? And that's why we don't have a national identity, because every year millions and millions of people from all across the world have come in for their own reasons, good, bad, or somewhere in between. But that's why we don't have a national identity, because we don't have common ground. We don't have a sense of who we are. And this last election really spoke to what America is right now. And I can tell you, anybody who's been here for a long time and cares about freedom, I mean, they went pretty red. So it's definitely something else. But I guess that's my rant on that. Politics is always something fun to talk about. For me, I just think sports and politics go hand in hand. It's really about culture, and it's really about what this world is coming to, right? And this is an imperfect world. There's always going to be things. This is a fallen world, right, if you want to say. And there's always going to be imperfect things. But at the end of the day, we can still fight for what's right? Or if you don't want to be that extreme, you can stand for what is right, and you can say what is right and what you believe. There's a reason that the freedom of speech is the first thing, right? It's the First Amendment, because at the end of the day, if you take away people's voices, you take away everything else, right? And that's what this podcast is ultimately about for me, is just being able to express myself in a way that I haven't been able to express myself. So it's definitely a lot of fun. But yeah, let's see what else we got going on in the news. Let's see here. Yeah, more on the United Healthcare CEO. He was charged with terror, right? This has got to be one of the most interesting stories we've seen in a really, really long time. Trump recently said this from people.com, slams those who are defending Luigi Mangione. That's a sickness, actually. He said, I think it's really terrible that some people seem to admire him, like him. This is written by Rachel Raposis, by the way. And I was happy to see that it wasn't specific to this gentleman that was killed. It was just an overall sickness as opposed to being a specific sickness. That's a terrible thing. Okay, that's Trump's roundabout way of saying you probably shouldn't cheer for someone to die. I mean, also, you're asking a guy who almost got assassinated twice, right? So you have to think about the context of that. Forget who he is. I mean, if someone almost gets assassinated twice, what do you think they're going to think about someone who assassinated somebody, right? So what is he supposed... Oh, sorry, hitting the mic. What is he supposed to say? You know? And, yeah. I don't know. This guy is, like, basically the same age as me. I would really like to just hear his side of things, right? And just get his perspective on why, right? I think the hardest thing for people to understand is I don't think they're struggling with maybe the reasons why, right? Obviously, very heinous, I guess you can call them actions of most healthcare companies, right? The lack of morality in them, I totally understand that. But I really would just like to hear it from him and what he thinks, right? Um, is he denying that he did it? I don't know. I don't know if he is. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where we are with that. I really don't know what else to break down with this guy. We did talk about him on another podcast. It's just sad to see a young man throw away his life and resort to, this kind of justice in a way that, should be left to the Lord. Because if this man is really doing the things that he's doing, I mean, it's going to be a hard judgment day, right? But yeah, it's definitely a weird time in this country. I think he did it with like a 3D printer gun that he made, which is definitely interesting. I mean, that's a way to get around, buying a gun and like having background checks. But I don't know if there's like some law that like every 3D printer is coded to like alert somebody if it's like 3D printed. That doesn't seem like that would happen, but yeah. It doesn't seem like it would happen. Oh my gosh, Pocahontas is trending. Because Elizabeth Warren. Oh my gosh. Elon Musk posts a picture of Elizabeth Warren in Native American gear. Oh my gosh. Just yikes. Big yikes. What do you guys think of LeBron? Because I know LeBron, like, totally disappeared. But now he was tweeting. He was tweeting after Justin Jefferson scored and did, like, a LeBron-themed gritty. Yeah, otherwise, the only other thing he said, like, he replied to a video from his foundation. But other than that, yeah, he hasn't really said much or done much. Is LeBron James back on the court? Yeah. Okay. He came back. I don't know. I think my guess is that it does have something to do with Diddy. Oh, let's talk about this. Speaking of the NBA, NBA ratings are down. I wonder if when I did follow the NBA, my main guy was Kenny Beecham. If you don't know him, he's KOT4Q, King of the Fourth Quarter. He was kind of does like 2K videos. He's also got podcasts, does NBA videos too. I wonder if he said anything about the ratings being down. Let me see if I can Google it. He's usually a pretty trustworthy guy. Beecham, NBA ratings. NBA ratings are low. This is a video that he did. Hopefully it has subtitles. The NBA viewership declining, he says. Yep, they're talking about, okay, so he's reading something per Awful announcing. So ESPN's opening doubleheader averaged 1.6 million viewers, down 42% from 2023. Bucks Sixers 1.71 million, down from 2.55 million. Celtics versus Knicks. Suns Clippers 1.52, down 49% from last year's comparable game. TNT's Thursday game, Spurs versus Mavericks, 1.45 million viewers, 29% decrease from last year's comparable game. Friday night, 830,000 viewers, fewer than college football game on ESPN2. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Okay, let's see what else he has to say. Because this probably isn't good for him either. because like he's making money off this. He's talking about, the season's too long, less money for the owners, we're getting less home games, less money for the players, less statistics. It's about statistics, he says. It's hard to shorten the season. Poor job of passing the torch, he says. We're leaving multiple top 10 players in basketball. Okay, I get what he's saying, but also, like, Adam Rank, oh my gosh, Adam Silver took over in 2014. How long was the season then? How long was the season in the 2000s? That is not the problem. And this is the problem with the NBA media. This is what they're talking about. They side with the players and go, well, I mean, the players think the season's too long. The viewers think the season's too long. No, you're speaking for yourself because you're having to cover this terrible sport because the problem is the three-point shot and the resting starters. And the times of the games are stupid. But okay, keep going. He's talking about the next generation, Luka Doncic. He's talking about how he made all NBA team except his rookie season. Okay, he didn't really have anything to say other than he just thinks the season's too long. Yeah. He said Shaq believes that it's going down because Shaq believes everyone wants to shoot three-pointers. Yeah, I agree. It's not the same kind of basketball. It's, to me, yeah, I would say it's those main things. Okay, so first of all, I have no idea when NBA games are, what channels they're on at all. And half the time when I do catch one, it's because I randomly catch one at like 9 p.m. It's only the second quarter at like 9 p.m. And you're like, okay, who has time to watch this? Not to mention, it is a lot of hucking up threes. There's not a lot of passing. It's a lot of star-driven, right? It's not really a team sport as much as they try to act like it is, but it's not. It's led by LeBron, who is really not a great leader in terms of like leading the charge as the superstar, right? As the best player. Most Americans don't like him, right? Most people don't like Patrick Mahomes because he wins. Not really anything that he says or does. It's more on his wife, right? LeBron James kind of acts like her, right? Arrogant, they've just gone so far away from the average person. Not to mention the resting, right? The last time I went to an NBA game, I went and saw the Timberwolves and Lakers play, right? Super excited last season. Timberwolves did a great job. Almost made it to the finals. But then the problem was, LeBron didn't even play. I went and saw LeBron's Lakers, and he didn't even play. Right? And I know those things happen from time to time, but the resting, the back-to-back games, the amount of money you're paying these guys, it's not fun. Right? Your best players are older. Right? It's not a good time for the NBA. Adam Silver is weird. He's just not a very, I don't know. I just can't really, get behind him. It's hard. Also, the courts are dumb. The different colored courts, those are dumb. The in-season tournament, not a terrible idea, but it doesn't really interest me. at the end of the day, you just need good players that play team basketball and who want to play the game and don't want to sit down half the games, and you'll be fine. Basketball is as popular as it is for a reason. And, okay, so a big critique, too. There's even a report. So Silver's looking into three-point volume critiques. So what is he going to do? You know? What is he going to do? Get rid of the three-point line? No. Tell coaches not to stop shooting threes? No, I hope not. So I think to a certain extent you kind of have to accept the 3 points. And he says, yeah, so Adam Silver, Front Office Sports, Adam Silver admits NBA ratings are down, not ready to blame product. Okay, let's see what he does blame. Okay, he said he admitted ratings are down, good for him. He said we're almost at an inflection point where people are watching more programming on streaming than they are on traditional television. It's a reason why for our new television deals, which will enter into next year, every game is going to be available on streaming service. And as we move to streaming service, putting aside how the actual game is played on the floor, it's going to allow us from a production standpoint to do all kinds of things that you can't do through traditional television. Okay, fair point, right? That's a fair point. You say, okay, well, we're going to have more people come through streaming, right? And that's fine. But that doesn't stop the NFL, right? Like, I know they have streaming games, but also, like, that still doesn't stop people from watching football on Fox and CBS, right? College football, I feel like I could be wrong, and I watch a lot of college football, but people watch college football all the time. I don't see a lot of people talking about it streaming. So, yeah. I don't know. Okay. And then what else here? Commissioner also touched on some theories of why ratings are down, including Shaquille O'Neal's and how the three-point shot has made every team play the same style. That's a good point. He said we're looking at the same thing. O'Neal said at his podcast, everybody's running the same plays. I don't mind Golden State back in the day shooting threes, but every team is not a three-point shooter. Yeah, it's a part of it. Silver said the idea that the NBA offenses have become cookie cutter and copycat is something that the league is looking into, but once short of blaming it all on high volume of threes are taking. NBA is having many discussions about the style of basketball being played. I would not reduce it to a so-called three-point shooting issue. I think we're look more holistically at the skill level on the floor, the diversity of offense, the fan reception of the game, all of the above. Well, this is what happens when you have AAU kids playing professional basketball now. Who wants to watch an AAU game other than like 13-year-olds? Or like parents of their kids trying to make money off their possible future professional basketball player kid? Who else? Who wants to watch AAU games? Seriously. Nobody. AAU games are like what mixtapes used to be, but instead of like just the highlights within a game, the whole game is trying to be an AAU mixtape, and it's awful. It's just awful. And Adam Silver just doesn't have a backbone, dude. He's not told these players that they need to play. Because what are they going to do? Strike? I mean, they can. But for what? For playing? Hey, we're going to strike because we don't want to actually play what we're getting paid to do. And do what we're getting paid to do. So, yeah. You're going to lose that one. The people aren't going to side with that. These people are getting paid so much money compared to other leagues. And they have guaranteed contracts and everything. And what happens? They just do whatever they want. They walk all over everybody. They're not serving the people. They just don't care. And they really don't. Why would they? that was getting paid $40-50 million a year and I didn't even really have to play, I mean, yeah, I'm sure I'd succumb to it at some point, right? So, I don't know, man. That's crazy. Stephen A. Smith, too. The players have ruined All-Star Weekend. It's their fault that the new format is happening. They have shamed the game of basketball. I personally have no desire to be in attendance for it. This is not Adam Silver's fault. Okay. Oh, because they want to do East-West instead of, like, picking people. Well, that's what the people wanted. They were sick of just East-West. Because the Western Conference was better than everybody else for the longest time. So, yeah, that's dumb. Yeah, that's dumb. It's really dumb. I'm just trying to think of the last time I really enjoyed the NBA. Like, really enjoyed watching them. Okay, maybe when the Timberwolves were good. It's cool to see, your home team actually be good when they haven't been good for a long time. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty crazy if you ask me. I can't believe the NBA has gone this far down. I really can't. It's very sad when I think about Kobe Bryant. I mean, Steph Curry a little bit was like this. But Kobe Bryant really set the tone for what the NBA should be about. It's not about just winning one championship. Because it's not as much of a team game, the runs that you can go on, it's about sustained championships with determination and playing through injuries because it's not that, like, it's a physical game because it's a sport. But in comparison to most other sports, it's not that physical of a sport, aka football, aka hockey, right? That's why you can play 82 games in a year plus more and not get injured as much as NFL players do, right? So it's just gotten ugly, man. And I think everybody knows it. I don't think people like watching. Like, okay, I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pull up the NBA's YouTube channel. I'm just going to pull them up. I'm going to find their most recent highlights, and I'm going to see if I enjoy it. I'm just going to react to it, see if I enjoy it. Let's see here. Okay. The top plays from the Emirates World Cup. I have no idea what this is. Is it like the mini tournament? Let's see here. Okay, yeah. First play. Let's play that back again. Okay, first play. Pick. Okay, they try to lob it, gets blocked. Okay, cool. We'll take that. Oh, this is 51 minutes long. Okay. Blocked by Giannis. Okay, next one. Terrible red court for the Bulls. No defense. Jaylen Brown goes to the rack. Yams on somebody when he comes late. Not even that impressive. And then he does a seatbelt thing or sash thing. I don't know. Celebration. It's dumb. Okay. Ugly red court. No defense. Yams it. Right? Okay. Tries to pass. Cool behind the back. Okay. That's cool. That was cool. It's going out of bounds. He flicks it behind his back on the other end of the court. Gets a slam dunk on the fast break. You can tell this is how much I talk about the NBA. I'm like, wait, what are these words again? Um, okay, not terrible there. All right, we're next. We're in Phoenix. Terrible looking yellow court. Ugly. Hurts your eyes. Lob to Wembanyama. Backwards dunk. Okay, he's the guy that people want to see. He's the guy. He's who I'd want to watch. But okay, that's all right. There's some like normal basketball things going on. Maybe highlights isn't the best thing because, like, what if I'm just watching a game? I saw this, like, or what if I'm just watching a game, like, I'll probably just see them hook up a bunch of threes because I remember seeing this, this 35-second clip where it was literally guys just shooting threes back and forth, and it was just so ugly to watch. It's like if I want to watch guys just, like, miss long shots, you just watch, like, the outtakes of Dude Perfect. Isn't that what you'd do? Right? So, I don't know. Okay, another block by Giannis. The best plays are from the big men. I know Giannis is kind of a hybrid player. But okay, 3. Not bad 3, but okay, a 3. The best part of that play was the block. Everybody loves a block. I think people would rather much watch blocks than threes. I don't think that's a hot take. Okay. Then we're in Boston. We've probably got the ugliest grid green court I've ever seen. Okay. Here we go. Block. Okay, chase down block. We'll take that. Still, who wants to look at these awful Lucky Charms looking ugly mint green courts? Now we got a deep blue court for I don't know who, because it's Bucks Raptors. So I know Bucks have blue in their jersey a little bit, but okay. Deep blue court. Looks terrible. I think a lot of it is just the courts. Okay, nice. Alley-oop from the three-point line, yams it on somebody. That's not bad. You'll take that. The best plays are the dunks and like where they're actually trying to play defense and they yam on people. Or blocks. Those are the best plays. Nobody cares about the shooting. Right? The reason people liked Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant is because there were guards with insane mentalities to beat big men. When Michael Jordan came out, they're like, oh, you can't draft a guard that high. Nobody cares about guards. It's all about centers. So that's what made it great. Now we veered too far the other way, and now it's all about guards. So now we got to get back to like something even, or we got to veer back to like centers. Right? That's what I think. Because right now there's no defense in the lane. People are able to drive for nothing. Like absolutely nothing. They're able to walk into the lane. Like honestly. Just able to walk in there like it's nothing. I'm just trying to watch more of this. It's just like ugly courts. There's 36,000 views in 10 hours. But I mean, you got Anthony Edwards, who people love because he just reminds them of Michael Jordan, which you'll take it. Anthony Edwards is a great player. We're back in Toronto. We got a we're in Houston versus Toronto. We got versus the Trailblazers. What am I saying? Bright red court. Ugly. Literally, what did Steve Kerr say? It's like the depths of hell. Yeah, it literally did look like that. It's like, really, you want people to watch these more? So what? You make the court bright red? What kind of idea is that? Like, it's dumb. It's really dumb. Like, nobody cares about the court color. They just want a normal court. Imagine if the NFL ratings were down, so they just made every field the color of, like, the team's logo. And that's what they did. That'd be so dumb. So dumb. Ja Morant misses a 3. Takes the alley-oop dunk. I thought he wasn't dunking. This fake gang member who grew up in, I think, private school is trying to, yeah, whatever, Ja Morant. You're lame, bro. Oh, and then you got the Clippers. Their new logo is ugly, man. And then they've got like a deep blue. It's more like navy blue court. The Clippers thing, their new logo looks terrible. And yeah, I don't know. You got alley-oops, you got three-pointers. It's like, I've not seen one highlight of like 7 passes. What makes basketball beautiful is the passing. Because it's the selfless play that gets you open shots. It's fun. But they've totally made it just terrible. It's totally just, yeah. You got Knicks with the orange court. It's ugly. Totally ugly. Skipping through here. You know, you got the Lakers with the yellow court. Kind of looks like a regular court, so okay. But I don't know. It's just ugly, man. Really ugly. You know, LeBron's back. Cool. Probably gearing up his lawyers. Right? Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Oh my gosh, you got the Trailblazers with like a gray and like a charcoal gray and a light gray court with patterns in it. That looks stupid too. Like, what are we doing? And this is not just the first season they've done it. Like, how many seasons are they going to try this? I have yet to meet anybody that likes it. I've never met one person that said, you know, the different colored courts are nice. It's a good change up. I don't think anybody who's watching the NBA and goes, yeah, I wish they just changed the court colors because, you know, my eyes are feeling dim. Like, I'm looking at dim stuff. I need more bright colors in my NBA games. It's like, no, it hurts your eyes. This one's yellow. I can barely even look at the screen. It's terrible. Then you got a bunch of whiners and floppers. Like, NBA players are terrible, dude. Yeah. And this is why this is mainly a football podcast. I'd rather watch baseball than this. Honestly. I'm not the biggest fan of baseball, but at least it takes like some brain power. The NBA is dumb. It's like the most simple game. It's become the most simple game. It used to be a lot more complicated, I would say. But then, sorry, hold on. JJ Redick might start yelling at me. Back when it was plumbers and firemen playing basketball. What kind of person do you think you are, bro? It's like, he's good to watch for his knowledge of the game sometimes, but he is really just like so ridiculous to listen to when it, like, the ego behind some of these guys. Talk about Greg Popovich too, like Draymond Green, LeBron James, dude. It's pride cometh before the fall, brother. It'll cometh before the fall. And that's what's happening in the NBA right now. Nobody thinks that, really nobody thinks that this is going to last this way. I don't think Adam Silver is going to last because at the end of the day, it's a money-making thing. And they're already going negative for the WNBA, so that nobody wants to watch the WNBA. And then when people started to want to actually start watching it, everybody hates on it. So it's like, either let people like it or get rid of it. Nobody likes it, and you're just doing it for the sake of doing it. Like, yeah, if you do it for the sake of doing it and it's not actually making money, then what are you trying to do? What agenda are you trying to push? What is it about? Because I thought you're a business. That's really what it's about. But whatever. That's the end of this Random Thursday. Stay tuned for tomorrow. We're going to break down NFL Week 15 and the matchups, and we'll do our picks for NFL Week 15. Thank you so much to anyone who listens. Don't forget that Jesus Christ died for your sins. He is my Lord and Savior. I hope if you haven't already, you make him your Lord and Savior. He brings you eternal life and so much more. Well, I guess not much more, but but in your current life that you're living, he brings you so much as well. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Take care. Have a good day.